Cafe, and I'm here to tell y'all some stories, and these stories are for little bitties, for the little guys, and you might want to stay because some of them are funny even for the big guys. Well, it's my friend Joaquin and Winnie. They're coming in. Hi, how are y'all? Take a seat. And here comes Waylon and Natalie Rose. Ephraim and Byron. I didn't know y'all were coming. Come on in. Have a seat. It's so much fun to have y'all here. And Jack. I love your outfit, Jack. And there's his sister Josie's coming in too. Now, these stories are especially for y'all. I'm telling them just for you. And everybody that tunes into the Rural Storytelling Cafe. And if you really like the stories, throw something in my hat. All right. We're going to start out with something that I just love to do. Can you put your fingers up and make a bunny rabbit? Oh, really? That's good, Joaquin. You can do it. Show your sister how. Okay, this is Bunny Foo Foo, and we're going to do that. Little Bunny Foo Foo hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mouse, bops him on the head. Down came the great fairy, and this is what she said. Little Bunny Foo Foo, I don't want you scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Don't do that, or I'll turn you into a goon. Little Bunny Foo Foo, okay, get it, your foo-foos up. Little Bunny Foo Foo hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice, popping them on the head. Down came the great fairy, and this is what she said. Little Bunny Foo Foo, I don't want you scooping up the field mice and popping them on the head. I'm gonna give you one more chance. If you do it again, I'll turn you into a goon. Little Bunny Foo Foo hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and popping them on the head. Down came the great fairy, because she could see everything Bunny Foo Foo was doing. And this is what she said. Little Bunny Foo Foo, I don't want you scooping up the field mice and popping them on the head. No more chances. Poof! You're a goon. Y'all know what a goon is? I don't know what a goon is, but Bunny Foo Foo's a goon nowadays. He doesn't scoop up field mice and bop them on the head. And y'all can do that at home if you want to. You can do Bunny Foo Foo forever. I love Bunny Foo Foo. Most of my stories today are going to be about animals. Story of the three little pigs. But I like that story because I like to be the wolf. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs. And they were just dancing and singing and having a really good time. But the oldest one said, we need to build us a house because there's a big, bad wolf out there. And so all of the little pigs ran around, and they found material to make a house. Well, the first little pig, who was the youngest, he scooped up straw and he put it all together and he made him a fort out of it, and it looked really cool. But he went inside, and along came the big bad wolf. And what did the wolf do? The wolf said, little pig, let me in. The little pig said, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And then the wolf said, I'm gonna huff and puff and blow your house down. And the little pig said, na 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 na. And then the big bad wolf took in a great big breath. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. And the little pig was so scared he started running, and he ran to his next brother's house. And the brother let him in. And that second little pig, he had gone around and picked up sticks and made him a house out of sticks. And it looked like a really great play fort. But along came the big bad wolf. And this is what he said. Little pig, let me in. And the little pig said what? Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And the wolf said, I'm gonna huff and puff and blow your house down. And the little pigs just laughed because they thought their house was really safe. And so the big bad wolf took in a big bad breath and he went and he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. And those two little pigs got so scared they ran and got in the house with their oldest brother. Well, you know, that oldest brother, he had pretty good sense. And he went around and he found him some bricks. And he built them together. And he made him a brick house. And the big bad wolf said, he came along and he said, little pigs, let me in. And the little pig said what? Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And that old wolf, he huffed and he puffed and he blew, but he couldn't blow down that brick house. So you know what happened next? That old big bad wolf, he moved to the next county where the pigs didn't build anything. And those three little pigs all lived together in that brick house because they knew that that big bad wolf would be back. And that's the end of that story. So, I'm so glad that y'all came. I am so glad. Well, I have another story to tell you about another wise person. It was a little red hen. Do you all know what a hen is? It's a little chicken. It's a little mama chicken. But she didn't have any babies right now. So, the little red hen found some grain seeds. She found some wheat. And she said, I'm gonna plant this wheat and then I'll make me some bread when the wheat comes up and comes in. And so she went to her friend the dog and she said, Dog, will you help me plant this wheat? And the dog said, No, I'm too busy. I've got to scratch a lot. I can't plant stuff right now. And so she said, all right. She went to her friend the horse. And she said, Horse, will you help me plant this wheat? And the horse said, No, I'm too busy. I have my friends from the next pasture visiting today, and I just can't plant wheat. And so she just sighed really heavy. And then she went to a pig, and she said, Pig, will you help me plant my wheat? And the pig said, No, I'm too busy. They just threw out my food, and I'm going to eat. And the little red hen said, all right, I'll do it myself. So she planted the wheat, and the wheat seeds laid in the ground, and then they came up and they waved in the wind. And then one day, in a short time, because it was winter wheat that she had planted in East Texas where it grew really well, the wheat came up and she weeded it and she hoed it And every time she would ask her friends, "Dog, will you help me?" The dog would say, "No, I'm too busy. I have to scratch. I am itchy all over." And the horse, she asked the horse, she asked the pig. None of them would help her. Not even the cat. Not even the cat would help her. So she said, "I will do it myself." Well, then it was time to harvest the wheat. She was so excited. And she said, "We have mosquitoes here, so we're slapping mosquitoes. And we have a citronella candle growing over here." Well, that poor little red hen, she had to harvest that wheat all by herself, but she did the work. So then it was time for her to grind the wheat, and that's a really tough job, grinding and grinding that wheat. And so she went to her friends again. She said, "Dog, will you help me grind the wheat?" The dog said, "I can't be bothered grinding wheat. You know how busy I am scratching. I have to scratch all day and all night because the mosquitoes are so bad here." She said, "Well, you should light a citronella candle." And then she went to the horse wouldn't help her. She went to the cat wouldn't help her. The pig wouldn't help her. Would you have helped her, Ephraim? I bet you would have if you'd have been there. Well, nobody would help her, and so she said, "I'll do it myself." And so she went and she ground and ground and ground and ground that wheat. And then she was ready to make her bread. And she said, "Dog, will you help me make the bread?" And the dog said, "No, I won't do that." She said, "Horse, will you help me make that bread?" The horse said, "No, I'm busy right now." Just the goat. "Goat, will you help me? Will you help me make that bread?" And the goat said, "No, I won't. I don't like bread. I like to eat tin cans." And so she went. She asked the pig wouldn't help her. She said, "Well, I'll just do it myself." So she went in and she mixed up that bread and that yeast and a little tiny bit of salt and a little bit of butter. She mixed it all up in a big old bowl. She set a cloth over it, and then she waited and she waited and she waited. And she divided her bread and she put it in the oven and she baked 2 beautiful loaves of bread. And all the animals could smell that wonderful yeast smell from baking bread. Joaquin and Winnie, I know your mama makes bread all the time. It smells good, doesn't it, when it cooks? So the little red hen walked outside and she said, "Dog, will you help me eat my bread?" And the dog said, "Oh, yes, I will help you eat your bread." She asked the horse, "Horse, will you help me eat my bread?" The horse said, "Oh, yes, I'll help you eat your bread." And she asked the cow, because the cow came up, and she said, "Oh, yes, I will help you eat your bread." And she said, "Goat, will you help me eat the bread?" And the goat said, "Yes, I will." And she asked the pig said, "Oink, I would love to help you eat your bread." And the little red hen just shook her head and she said, "No, I'm gonna eat my bread all by myself because I did all the work all by myself." And so she closed her door and she went in and she put some wonderful butter on that bread and she ate the bread all by herself. And then she took a nap because she was an old little red hen. Did y'all like that story? You did? Okay, well good. I'm really glad that you did like that story. Okay, do y'all know how to make a spider out of your hands? It's really easy. All you have to do is put your fingers together like this and put your thumbs inside, because how many legs does a spider have? It has 8 legs, and you have 8 legs showing, and that spider can just go everywhere. I want to tell you a story about a spider, but first I want to sing a little song, and y'all can help me. The Incy Wincy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Incy Wincy spider went up the spout again. I like that Incy Wincy spider. And there's another spider. When I was growing up in Louisiana, there was a spider that was called Aunt Nancy. All these stories about Aunt Nancy came from Africa, and the spider's name was Anansi. And you can tell when you get to Louisiana, everything gets slow, even your tongue. So the people there called him Aunt Nancy, even though he was a boy spider. Now, one day, this little spider was sitting on a log, and he looked around, and he thought, I need some wisdom. I really need some wisdom. I don't know what to do next. And so he thought about it for a long time, and then he thought, well, everybody has a little bit of wisdom, but I want a lot of wisdom. I want all the wisdom in the whole world. And so he decided he would go and ask for wisdom. So he put a big old basket on his back, and he went from house to house. Well, the first house he went to was Ephraim's, and Ephraim knew just how to be a 4-year-old boy, and he knew how to run fast, and Ephraim told him all about it. And so Anansi put that wisdom in his basket. And then he went to Zach. Now Zach was an old boy, and he knew how to drive a car or a truck. And so he told him all about how to do it, and Anansi put that in his backpack. Then he went to Ben's house, and he said, Ben, what do you know? What do you have wisdom about? And Ben said, I am a wonderful tennis player. I am the best tennis player in this whole village. And he told Anansi all about how to be a good tennis player. And so he put that in his backpack. Then he went to Natalie and Carrie's house. And he said, girls, what do y'all know? Well, they knew a lot of stuff because they were teenage girls and they knew almost everything. Well, after they told him all the wisdom that they had, he put it in his basket. And then Aunt Nancy went next door, and he went to Barbara Jean's house, and he said, Barbara Jean, what do you know? And Barbara Jean told him, I know how to make bread. I make the best bread in the whole county. My husband John helps me sometimes, but I'm the bread maker. And she told him all about how to make that bread. And Anansi went from house to house to house to house. He found out everything everybody knew how to do, and he put all that wisdom in his basket. And that basket got heavier and heavier because he had so much wisdom in it. And then he sat down and he thought about what he should do with all that wisdom. He knew it wasn't right to keep it all for himself. I mean, they had given him the wisdom. And so he thought about it and thought about it. And he thought, well, I could tie it to the trees, and the trees could blow. But you know, I wouldn't get much wisdom out of a basket if it was up in a tree. And so his friend came along, Rabbit. Rabbit came along, and Rabbit said, well, you know what? If I were you, I would go to the top of the meeting house, and I'd just throw that wisdom out, and then it would scatter all over the world, and when somebody needed some, they could just snatch it out of the air. And Uncy said, that sounds like fun. I think that's what I'll do. So he went to the meeting house, and the meeting house had a great big steeple on it, like that. It was huge. And Anansi climbed up carrying that basket, and Rabbit helped him. He kept a-climbing and a-climbing. When he got to the very top, he turned that basket loose, and the wind was blowing, and it blew that wisdom everywhere. So if you ever need any wisdom, like thinking about how to act when you're going to church, or thinking about how to be nice to your mama or daddy, or your little sister or brother, all you have to do is sit down and think, and some wisdom will blow through the air and come into your little brains and help them get bigger. Now that's the story of Aunt Nancy and the wisdom. I want to tell y'all another story about a little chicken, and his name was Jose. Now Jose's mother had just hatched out a whole bunch of teeny tiny baby chicks, and she still had Jose in her house. Now Jose was a chick from last year, and he was almost grown up, but not really quite. He sometimes did really stupid things. He was like a young teenage chicken rooster, and he wanted to go to his aunt's wedding. His aunt was getting married across town at the big old Catholic church. And so Jose's mother looked at him and she said, "You're all dressed in your beautiful white feathers. Do not eat. If you eat, you will spill all down the front of you, and I will know about it, and I don't want you disgracing your aunt. Do you hear me, Jose?" And Jose said, "Yes, Mama. I will not eat anything." Well, Jose started walking along, and he saw a great big grasshopper. Oh, chickens love grasshoppers. But he thought, if I eat that grasshopper, I'll get green all down the front of me, and my mama will be so mad at me. Oh, she will be mad. You can't eat that grasshopper. He kept walking along, and the next thing that happened was he saw a beautiful caterpillar. Oh, it was just about this long. It was a big old caterpillar. It was the biggest caterpillar he'd ever seen, and it was ripe and juicy and just perfect for a little rooster to eat. But he said to himself, "No, Jose, no caterpillars for you. You just can't be trusted with a caterpillar. You'll get green slime all down the front of you. You know you will." So he walked along, and then he came to a blackberry bush. That blackberry bush was loaded with big old juicy blackberries. Oh, it was wonderful. And he thought, I'll just eat one. Just one little blackberry. And so he was very careful, and he went. But one, was not enough. He ate them 3 and 4 at a time. He loved those blackberries. Those blackberries were so good, and he wasn't getting any juice down the front of him. And he thought everything would be all right. He ate blackberries, he ate blackberries. You can't believe how many blackberries he ate. His tummy was so full, it was pooching out almost as big as mine. Well, I know, Joaquin, you like blackberries too, don't you? Yeah, I know. And I want to tell you something. He was so proud of himself. He went over to the pond that was right there by the blackberries, and he looked at himself. Oh, he looked so handsome in his beautiful white feathers. He had his top knot combed. He was just a lovely rooster. And then he looked closely at himself, and he saw that he had a stain on his beak. His beak had turned red. What was he going to do? And he looked around, and there was some grass, and he said, "Grass, grass, will you blow in the wind and wipe away my berry stain so I can go to my aunt's wedding?" And the grass said, "No way, Jose. Can y'all help me do that? No way, Jose." So he said, and he went to the sheep, and he said, "Sheep, sheep, will you bite that grass and make it wipe away my berry stain?" And the sheep said, "No way, Jose." And then he thought, "Oh, what am I going to do?" So he went to the dog, and he said, "Dog, dog, will you bite that sheep? So the sheep will bite the grass, and the grass will wave in the wind and wipe away my berry stain, because I really want to go to my aunt's wedding." But the dog said, "No way, Jose." Well, Jose didn't know what to do, so he saw a wolf. He said, "Wolf, wolf, will you help me? Will you bite that dog so the dog will bite that sheep, so the sheep will bite the grass, and the grass will wave in the wind and wipe away my berry stain, please?" But what did the wolf say? "No way, Jose." So then, I hate to tell you this, then he saw a man, and he said, "Man, man, will you beat the wolf so the wolf will bite the dog, so the dog will bite the sheep, so the sheep will bite the grass, so the grass will wave in the wind and wipe away my berry stain?" But the man looked at Jose and said, "No way, Jose." Well, then he went to a stick. It was a big old stick. It was a great big stick. He said, "Stick, stick, will you beat the man so the man will kick the wolf, so the wolf will bite the dog, so the dog will bite the sheep, so the sheep will bite the grass, and I'll be able to get my berry stain wiped away, and I can go to my aunt's wedding?" And the stick said, "I love to hit people. Hitting people's what I love to do." And the stick whopped that man. That man kicked that wolf bit that dog bit those sheep, the sheep bit that grass, and the grass got busy and waved in the wind and wiped away Jose's berry stain so he could go to his aunt's wedding. So he started running because he didn't want to see any more berries. And he ran and ran and ran, and he got to the church on time. And when he got there, he said, "I have come to sing for you." And everybody said, "No way, Jose," because Jose sang like I do, not very good. Did y'all like that story? You did. I'm so glad. Well, Byron and Ephraim, y'all were really good with that "No way, Jose" part. This story is one of my favorites, and it's also about a little rooster. I know today was like chicken stories, but y'all just have to put up with me. I like chickens. What can I tell you? Once upon a time, there was not a little rooster who lived with an old woman in a country where there was a king called the Sultan. Every morning that little old woman would throw her little rooster out and say, "Go, little rooster, bring me something back if you find anything good to eat. But you eat You eat all the grass seeds you can find. And so that little rooster would go out and he would peck around, and he would find enough grain for him to eat. And sometimes he brought something back to his old lady friend. Well, one day he was out pecking, and he found a diamond button. He was so excited. He had that diamond button in his little beak, and he was on his way to his old lady friend. He knew that would help her, and she would be able to buy food. He was running, and along came the Sultan. The Sultan had 3 men who walked behind him and held his pants legs up because he wore great, big, puffy pants. And he was very important. And he had a very sharp eye. And he looked and saw that little rooster running along with that diamond button in his, and he sent one of those men. He said, "Go fetch that little rooster. Take away that diamond button and put it in my treasure house." Well, the little rooster was just horrified. The man jerked the button away and threw the little rooster down hard. And then they continued on. And when they got back to the palace, that man put that little diamond button into the treasure room. And there it was. Well, the little rooster thought about it, and he thought, "I'm not going to just let that happen." And so what he did was he flew up into the Sultan's window, and he said, "Give me back my diamond button." And the Sultan said, "No, you terrible thing. I'm going to do something to you." And he said, "Take that little rooster and throw him down the well." Well, the little rooster had a magic stomach. And when they threw him down the well, he went, magic stomach, drink up all the water in the well." And he did. He drank up all the water in the well. And his belly was out like that because he had so much water in him. And he waddled back to the Sultan's palace, and it was really hard to do, but he flew up into the window, and what did he say? "Give me back my diamond button." Well, this made that old Sultan so bad, his hair stood up on end, his eyes got huge and bulgy, and his jaw got really, really ugly. Well, the little rooster asked for his diamond button, and the Sultan didn't give it back. And so he spit out all the water. "Come, my magic stomach, come, my magic stomach." Well, that Sultan had about knee-deep in water in that palace. He and those 3 men had to sweep water out of the house just like they'd had a hurricane. It was awful. That Sultan said, "Get that rooster." And the man grabbed it, one of the men grabbed it. And he said, "Go throw him in the fire. That'll teach him to come back here and mess up my beautiful palace." And so the man ran and he threw that little rooster into the fire. Well, that little rooster said, "Come, my magic stomach, come, my magic stomach, suck up all the fire in this place." And he did. He sucked up all the fire. Well, you guys can't do that. You know that, right? Don't try that at home. Well, that little rooster flew up into the window. He said, "Give me back my diamond button." And the Sultan looked at him and said, "I'm not giving back anything. That button belongs to me." So the little rooster looked around and he saw all this beautiful tapestry all around. That's like cloth. Beautiful pictures on the wall. And he said, "Come, my magic stomach, come, my magic stomach, pour out all the fire." He blew fire everywhere. He singed off the eyebrows on those three men. The Sultan's head caught on fire and they had to put it out. And then the Sultan looked at that little rooster and said, "Throw him in the treasure room and let him find his diamond button." And they threw him in the treasure room. And the little rooster looked around, and you know what he saw? There were diamonds and emeralds and rubies and pearls, aquamarines. There was gold and silver and copper. There was all kinds of treasure. So he said, "Come, my magic stomach, come, my magic stomach, eat up all the treasure." And he ate up necklaces and tiaras and bracelets, earrings, nose rings, belly button rings. He ate up all of the treasure in that treasure room. And he took it home to his old lady. And he spit it out. Well, she was a nice person, and she and her little rooster went from person to person in their village, and they gave everybody some treasure so everybody could eat well, not just the Sultan. And that Sultan, he had to get a job and go to work and rake up leaves. And that's the end of that story. I've had such a good time here at the World Storytelling Cafe, and I'm so glad y'all all came. I am really happy. I see that Henry and his little sister came to this party, and his little brother Enio, and I'm so glad that they showed up and came. It was so much fun. I loved having all of you here with me. Thank you for coming. And you know, there's lots of stories at the World Storytelling Cafe, and you can come almost anytime you want to. Now, if you like the stories, you could throw something in my hat if you have a few coins. But if you don't, I'm just glad that you enjoyed them. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.
People, wherever you are, thank you for listening to that last storyteller. What an amazing performance. And if you enjoyed it, the hat looked just below the story. If you're on the website, and I do encourage you to go to the website, and you can put a little in the hat. If you're in Texas, I've got a Texas hat here. I've got this in Kerrville. You could drop $1 in, or $2. If you're in England, you can drop £1 in, or more. If you're in Canada, well, you could drop a few dollars in. And maybe if you're right up north, in Lapland, you could drop a few kroner in, or maybe €1 or 2. It will be much appreciated. Thank you. Don't forget the hat, and enjoy the stories.